Good morning, everybody. It's the 5th of February today, and I'm a bit unshaven. Usually I'm unshaven because I've had a heavy night the previous night, but that's not the case on this occasion. In fact, it's completely the contrary because yesterday I celebrated, or I didn't celebrate, not with alcohol anyway, 6 months without a drink, which I wanted to make a video about because I wanted to just share my feelings, my thoughts, a bit of a ramble more than anything else, to anybody that's interested about that achievement, I guess. If I look back, when I started this journey, I didn't think I'd get past the first evening. I started on a Friday evening. Friday evenings for me, as it was last night, this is Saturday morning, was always quite a few beers and and watching rugby. Last night was non-alcoholic beers, well, a couple, and watching rugby. So there's been a shift for me in the last 6 months that I don't think I would have believed if you told me 6 months ago I'd be in this position. I just don't think I would have believed it. I just don't think I had the reason, the gumption, the courage, the desire. I was wedded, probably addicted to alcohol. It was such a big part of my life. Everything seemed to be geared around it. I was completely a functioning human being, in the sense that, as I've said in previous videos, I didn't get into fights or into trouble or not turn up for work or anything like that. But I like to have a drink, and even today, 6 months later of not drinking, I still miss that buzz, I suppose is what you can call it, that change of state of mind. I miss to a degree those feelings, I guess. And one of the things I've started, I guess, to realise is that my brain, and everybody's brain, is so important in everything that we do or don't do. And one of the areas of study and interest I've got is around, particularly around the subconscious mind and how it drives habits or one way or t'other, and how one can influence that decision-making process once you realise that. I was listening to a podcast by Dave Brailsford, the ex Olympic GP cycling team manager, who brought in a psychologist to the GB team when they were really struggling, and made them understand why they did, from a psychological perspective, certain things or didn't do certain things. And it was part of the marginal gains he talks about, one of the small elements that gave him a little bit of improvement. And I'm wondering whether that's an area I'd like to just become more interested in, not just because of alcohol, but many areas of your life, from, trying to read more to exercise more, to eating a better diet, to have better relationships, work in an environment where you feel valued and productive. There's all these reasons that I think are in your brain and in my brain that perhaps we don't recognise enough. But that's a different issue. So it's going back to this, the main point of this video. 6 months is a fair time. It's nothing in comparison to the amount of time I have been drinking, and one of the constant questions I have, and I suspect everybody that has drunk in the past, has given up for a period, questions: could they become a moderate drinker again? Maybe a social drinker. I know, I'm pretty damn sure that I won't go back to where I was. So my next question is, could I be a social drinker? Why would I want to be a social drinker? And I'm finding myself not sure what to do, and I'm fearful that as soon as I take some alcohol, In fact, I hope that I hate it. That would be the best thing. But as soon as I take some, my subconscious mind will say, will recognise, oh, there's alcohol back on the scene. Let's press all the pleasure buttons he used to associate with alcohol. And I'll get gripped, in a sense, by it again. So I don't really want to go down that route. But equally, I want to challenge myself. Could I have a glass of wine at Christmas? Could I, or a couple? But then not drink for maybe weeks and months after. I'm not sure that's possible for me. I just don't really know. I know my wife, for example, she has a couple of glasses of wine every now and then, doesn't drink for months on end. I'd love to be that type of person. But then I said to myself, why? What benefit would it really give you by being that social drinker? So these thoughts are around my mind as I suppose I go into the next stage, if I can call it a next stage of this journey. The most important thing is I do have a sense of pride that I've got to where I am, because in many respects in my life I've not followed through on commitments, and this I have, at least to this point. So I'm having an element of pride there. And actually, I suppose the longer it goes on, the greater I prefer not drinking to drinking. Look, don't get me wrong, I used to love the buzz of going out with friends and having a few drinks, probably too many, and the chat and the banter. I loved all of that. I don't think that necessarily has to go, but it doesn't feel the same to me. Sitting there with a non-alcoholic pint, even if it looks identical, is not the same. So I think for me, I'm still on a journey. Don't know where it's going to lead. I'm pretty sure I won't go back to where I was before. Whether I'll become a moderate drinker, I don't know. I'm fearful, as I said, of that. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. All I can say to anybody listening to this video, if you are contemplating cutting down or maybe abstaining for a period, I really would encourage you to find the reason to follow through, however you do that, because I do think you will see significant changes in your life and benefits that you possibly have not recognised even. And if nothing else, you'll feel a sense of pride. You'll also get probably friends around you, especially if they're drinking friends, who will start to talk to you more about, especially when you're with them, about, they're not concerns, but, they'd like to have a break and they think they could do it. But just like I used to, as soon as they're out of that environment, they go back to their normal ways, which, I did it, so I'm not going to preach to them. But if you are in that mindset where you're thinking about it, go and do something about it if you can. Take a small step. If you've ever read I think I've mentioned it on this podcast, on this broadcast, if you could read James Clear's Atomic Habits, about changing a habit and changing it in a very small way rather than a big way, because you won't stick with the big way. For example, if you say drink, 6 pints a night or a bottle of wine a night, which has about 5-6 glasses in it, just reduce it by 1 glass, maybe over a period of one night or even a week. Really make it a very, very small shift, but do that for a period of time, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then make another shift, maybe reduce it another one. And you'll find that habit will get formed. You might then be able to make a much bigger shift, but do something positive in regards to alcohol. I probably apply this to any sort of substance abuse and frankly anything in life that improves your life. Whether it be recognising you need a shift in your job. Maybe you live in a toxic, or you're in a job that you're unhappy with. Make a shift. Do something positive towards the goal of changing, because I think human beings want to be fundamentally happy and healthy. And by making changes in your life, whatever they may be, mine's at the moment is alcohol based, you do see the benefits. And I'm not going to go over the specific benefits because I think I've done it before, and there's plenty of content out there. Other people, by the way, there's loads of wonderful content out there. Really utilise it. Watch lots of different people because they've all got different approaches, different thoughts, different benefits, different challenges. And I just think this is the way YouTube is. For me, I think was one of the elements that helped me on my journey. So go and do the same. But in the meantime, maybe put the drink down.